Hey everybody, back again. Gonna be knocking out a fantastic, easy, fun card for today for the Atom on Tuesday. Um, gonna share this over with my page real quick, and then we're gonna get started. So bear with me just a second. Hey, look, I'm live now. That's awesome. No, seriously though, I'm just sharing it with the page real quick so everybody can see that I'm live. And we are going to go right now, live. Okay. Thank you for your patience. I wanted to get that knocked out real quick. And hey, Tom, glad you made it, man. We're going to do the classic Atom with not necessarily the Golden Age one, but the modern classic with a spider up in here. I'm going to make it that way he looks really small. This is going to be the shadow of the bug. So we have the arachnid on site, and we're going to start laying this out real quick. I wanted to do something more full body this time because of the fact that, everybody's been asking me, can you, do more dynamic stuff? Because not that this stuff that I'm doing is dynamic according to what they say. It's just I've had a couple of requests for specific, more full body stuff, more action shots and things like that. And I thought, this one's going to be an easy one today because I am literally swamped with work. But yeah, I'm going to start doing that. I've got a couple of layouts in mind for you guys with upcoming characters. So we'll definitely start doing that. And with my Patreon accounts going live on Friday, yes, live on Friday, I will be doing behind the scenes stuff and coaching in there and extra stuff going. Finally got that all up and running. Patreon has given me an account approval, so I'm really happy with that. I had to sign up for it, but I had to meet a couple of criteria that they had because of what I'm doing on the back side, because I'm using it as a membership continuity program, not just a website to get money from people, but I want to make sure that everybody gets value out of what they get for, the 10 and let's see, the $5 and $10 memberships that I'm going to be doing. I want to use it for a continuity program for you guys to be able to get work from me like that. So just letting you know now, that's what I'm after. And, with that agreement and what held up so long on getting you guys to see the stuff behind the scenes, because you get to see all my fun comic stuff that I actually do draw that, people keep asking me about, because I won't show it till it's done unless you're a member of that service. So, you'll get to look at the stuff before everybody else does, and if you want to see it, cool. If not, that's cool too. We'll still be here every day to do this because I'm doing this until probably until the cows come home or Facebook says stop it. But considering the fact that it's user-generated content now these days, I don't think they're gonna, because this is the social media equivalent of eBay, where it's social media using consumer-generated content or customer-generated content, and that's what social media is. Now, for any of you that don't know what the platform for social media is and how they make money off of it, we're not necessarily their customer base. We are a product for them. They use us to generate content for them to keep their site moving and keep it up in social and ranking, and then turn around and sell us advertising through third-party ad sources. So if you think this is free, don't be disillusioned and believe that, because it's not true at all. I'm a social media marketer. Believe me, I know for a fact that this stuff is all about selling, and these are ad-based programs and whatnot. And yes, we get to use them as communities. We get to have fun with them and whatnot. But the bottom line is that's how Facebook and places like that make money. Twitter does the same thing. You know, they use the data and they process it to certain data companies for consumer goods, and they give it to them as to what you're buying, what you're advertising, what you're talking about, word of mouth, which is also advertising, and spread that out there. So why am I talking about that right now? Because of the fact that, you know, it is what it is. So it's going to be a consumer program for me to step up and say, okay, this is where I'm going to be at with my stuff and what I'm doing to promote my comics and other business ventures that I have. So you guys need to know that's coming. And I am going to be going on to Patreon for some behind the scenes stuff and a lot of the how to do stuff, how to draw stuff, how to market stuff, and start promoting from there, because it's more convenient, and the information cost me a lot of time and effort to learn over the years that I've been doing this, and to stay on top of my game and stay ahead of everybody else. And you know, it's par for course. If you want to get the information, I need to and be ahead of everybody else. I had to put it in a format that it would be accessible without charging you $400 or $500 to get it, you know, because these online courses are really expensive, and this stuff is the wave of the future. On demand products and services and things like that go from that. I've been doing that for a long time, and you know, I'm seeing it cross over into comics now, but I would rather have a continuity program where you guys get affordability, and you get to get out there and get the information, the same good information, without paying all of that, you know, like buying a Kirby course or, you know, whatever, and you know, or a Kubert course, because they've started the Kirby Foundation has been talking about those new art classes that are supposed to come out from Jack's stuff, which I don't know if they're going to do that or not. They've been talking about that for like 5 or 6 years now, and they haven't done anything with it yet, and I'm hoping they do, because I would love to have them. But the Kubert School primarily is moving into, you know, they've gone into the mail order thing for years on end, where you can buy those classes and courses and stuff, but they're not really the formal training everybody needs, because they give you a little tester kit and basically get you started. They don't give you any information to get you in like it would be for a 3 or 4 or 5 year program. What I'm going to give you is behind the scenes stuff that you can apply every day from comic art experience. I'm not saying I'm the best guy to learn it from, because you know, there are a lot of better artists out there than I am, but my fan base is asking for it, so that's what we're going to do. So just a heads up. But anyway, it's not a sales pitch or anything. I'm just talking, as always, just to talk and keep it moving and give you guys some content. But yeah, start expecting that stuff, because I'm about to release three new books, and a how to draw comics and cartoons program. And then on top of that, I'm going to be releasing a Kickstarter very soon, which you guys are going to be able to get firsthand on some of my books that are coming out. Not as a, you know, one and done type deal, but as to promote the continuity books, because I'm about to start producing them monthly, like I keep talking about the last couple of weeks and whatnot, about the last month or so. So technically about the last 30 cards. But yeah, I'm going to be moving into getting Firestorm Comics up and running. And like I said, with the Patreon coming out on Friday, everybody's going to get the first look at the first webcomic that's going to be coming out. Also, sneak peeks every week, a couple of times a week at the Catman Evolution book and Lone Rider that are coming up. So you guys are going to be able to see that. You're also going to get a sneak peek at a couple other things that I've got in development. And you'll be the first to get to meet the new colorist that I'm taking on team at the end of this week as well. So if you guys are interested in what's going on, and like I said, in getting your stuff reviewed and me to take a look at it for you, I will do that as well. And you guys can give me your stuff, and I'll give you feedback on it. And I'll put somebody in the hot seat once a week, and we'll look at a portfolio review. And let's say we do a session, a live session for that Patreon, and I give you, I don't know, something along the lines of 3 reviews, something like that, and we can do those live as long as everybody can make it, and we'll go from there. But if they want public reviews, I only want to do public reviews if you guys want to, because you know, my editing skills are a little rusty, other than the fact that I do my own books, and I have editing staff that I use for that, because I don't believe in using your own, you know, you shouldn't be the editor of the book you're on. I just don't think that's fair. So if you guys want some feedback, I talk to a lot of new artists all the time, and hear that they would like it, but I just don't have time for that. But this Patreon account would allow me to break time in my schedule for that, to where it's affordable for me to use up that time in that way. So if you guys like that, cool. If not, that's okay too. Whatever. It's not a make or break deal. It's not a must. I'm just throwing out ideas of what I'm going to be doing to help you guys out, and to spread my artwork. So it is what it is. But as we know for the Atom, wow, I kicked this guy out quick. I've got him going here looking at a spider. He's down on a wall and down on a baseboard, and I've got him looking at a spider here. And I'm going to draw in some really gnarly hairy legs off the old arachnid. You know, when you're up close to a spider leg, it looks kind of like it's kind of tubular, and it looks a lot like a cricket, because the hair doesn't go all over it. It's sparse and sporadic, but it's definitely on the outside, because it keeps them from sticking to stuff. It keeps them from getting into anything funky. It also allows them to feel, because their exoskeletons on the outside, the reason they have hair piercing through is so they can use it as external antennae or feelers within the environment they're in, so that they can actually move around and not bump into stuff. That's why a spider will pace itself, and if you get close to its legs from behind, it'll basically flip around and be ready to bite. And the reason it's ready to attack is because it can feel you because of these hairs. So just take that into consideration, you know, when you're drawing arachnids. Those little hairs serve a purpose. That's crazy. You know, not like a cricket, which has the little barbs on their legs to, you know, rub together and make a combing sound, and that's the chirp we hear. But this is more, like I said, for a defensive and environmental weapon, as it were. But we got that in pretty quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this kind of hairy thing going across here. I'm going to draw in this form loosely, because I'm going to shadow this and I'm going to color it gray, and I'll erase this because I'm just using this as a guide. And if you're over the age of 35, you'll know what I mean by this joke. Oh, look, it's Harry from Harry and the Hendersons. But if you don't, you can Google him. Google's your friend. But going to put in a little more of this shadowing of the hair here. And like I said, I'm not going to pencil that in because I don't want to mess it up and just make stuff that I have to erase because it's not going to be there. So I'm going to put in some markers for these notes so that I know to black them out. Now, as for the Atom, he's going to be shaded. So I'm going to put in the hard blacks, and then I'm going to leave it alone, because this is a bright suit. He's red and blue, and you guys can check him out. If you haven't read any of the good books of the Atom, I don't know how the new one's doing, other than what I've read about it in research for this character right before coming on. And I'm not impressed by the new Rebirth Adam. I'm just not. He looks like a clone of Ant-Man to me in that costume, and I know they're trying to use reference to the Legends of Tomorrow series, but in that series, he's got this kind of Iron Man wannabe thing going on. It's strange. I'm not a fan, and I like the series, but they made Hawkman into kind of a weenie, and and I mean that's a technical term because I mean that's exactly what he is. He's just a very wimpy version, incarnation of himself, and it's horrible, horrible, horrible what they're doing to that character. And then you have Firestorm, which is just arguing with himself all the time. I mean, he is strange. And not that I'm ripping or complaining or anything like that. It's just it doesn't resonate with me because it's not the version of the characters that I grew up with and know. And when you do that, the big problem with continuity issues in comics. So if you have people griping about it and they freak out, the reason for that, it's a subliminal thing because you build bonds with these characters over years of watching them and understanding who they are and what they're about. And then when you see a reincarnation of them like that, it messes with your psyche because your psyche saying, your subconscious is saying, okay, there's something wrong with that. That's not the character. Something's wrong with that. You're lying to me. So your brain triggers off this safety mechanism and starts screaming that, it's messed up because it's broken. And what it is that they've revamped it and your mind hasn't coped with it yet. And, a lot of these older characters, my mind doesn't cope very well with those because I don't like that kind of change. And when I design a character, I keep that character the way it is for a while at least. And, I've had to cope with a lot of that. And Spider-Man, that's the reason Disney's doing so well with their movies, but not so well with their comics, because they've gone to drastic extremes to where they've changed them up beyond what people can cope with. So what ends up happening is everybody's like, well, the movie version of Spider-Man, it looks like Spider-Man, he looked like that in Civil War, and that's awesome. But it's not the same when you get into changing different things to the extreme. That's where the clash comes from. And a lot of people just don't understand that. And they're like, well, I don't know why I don't like it. Because people ask them, why don't you like this one? This is the only version I've ever known. Why don't you like this one? Because it's not the only version I've ever known. So that embarks on something much deeper that people need to take into psychological marketing, because that's a huge thing. And it is really a problem. And a lot of people just don't get that. Okay, now for where we're going to put the Atom, I'm going to put in a silhouette here of his shadow behind him within the spider. Because what I will do is, because he's double masked where he's standing in comparison to the spider itself, I will have him reflect such, but it'll be darker. Okay, this will be the same as the spider head, but where it comes across right here and they match up on the same line, that's going to shadow darker. Okay, that's going to make a darker silhouette. And the reason for that is because of the fact that where he's blocking light is going to make it darker because there's two objects blacking it out. So you got to think about that kind of stuff. Now right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and put in that lower elbow and that upper arm right there behind it. But I'm not going to put the hand because at this angle we wouldn't see that. So there's going to be a double shadow right there and a double shadow right down here where the arachnid comes into play. And I'm going to put out this finger just a little bit to put a gap there because I want to have a little bit of distance in the way the light hits from back here. So, but like I said, that will reflect because his arm would actually be full shadow over here off scene where we're at. But we're going to put in just a little bit because it's just, I'm curving the angle from the dim light this way, the main light this way, and the shadow of the spider is going to black that out. So that's why I did it that way. But this is going to be hardcore black. This is not going to play around. because like I said, where he is going to be blacked out because the shadow is already cast from the spider, and now we've got this dark shadow thing going on right now where he's going to black out everything around him as a solid. So that will go black. And I probably shouldn't do this because I've said this a million times. Don't do this if you see me do it, because of the fact what's going to end up happening, and I'm going to have to erase that now because that's not going to be that dark. But don't blacken this out if you can help it, because what's going to end up happening with the pencil is you're going to have to go in and erase all that and catch it back up to match up to the ink, because otherwise your ink will be absorbed into the pencil graphite polymer, and you will be into a problem, because a lot of these are not, they're a polymer now, they're not a true graphite anymore. So you have to watch out, because a lot of that won't match up the same way. So I'm going to do this one because I'm going to black this out. I'm going to make it look even here because he's closer to the wall. But then I'll make that a softer shadow, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, this is where we have the Atom. I hope you guys dig it. I know this one was a little faster than usual, but hey man, I appreciate it. Now, as far as this goes, before we go, hey Dave, you made it, man. I'm glad you made it on. I appreciate it. Thank you. If you guys have any questions about this, let me know, and I'll be happy to help you out with it. And like I said, I'm always game to help if I have the opportunity and the time. As far as what we have going on tomorrow, hey man, I've just been talking about this whole thing with the Patreon coming up this Friday. I'm going to take that on, and like I said, I've got a $5 level and a $10 level, and I want you guys to go on and check it out if it's for you. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not making a sales pitch here. If you want to see the behind the scenes stuff of the stuff that I've got coming out, it's awesome. If not, you know, and learn stuff and get your stuff reviewed and pushed out, that's awesome. Just to recap a little bit. But other than that, I'm not pushing it because I'm not doing it for money. Okay, I'm not doing it because I have to have the money. I'm doing it because I want to help everybody, and I want to handle a way of giving those sneak peeks that everybody wants with the opportunity. If you want to make the investment and get the sneak peeks and the reviews and access to me for portfolio reviews and all that, and behind the scenes stuff and how-to stuff, awesome. If not, that's okay. I'm still going to be here every day anyway. Tomorrow we have Mr. Miracle. This is one of my absolute favorite DC characters. Love that guy. Big yellow, red, and green suit. If you don't know Mr. Miracle, check him out before we come back on tomorrow, because you will want to know who this guy is. I got to have so many of the great original run that I filled up my comic collection with, that Jack Kirby had his hands in, and it's just phenomenal stuff. I love those books. I will be back on tomorrow with that one, but until then, you guys keep digging at it, man, and keep grinding away. And yeah, share your work with me. Get in touch with me if you're on Facebook or on the page. Message me. I am definitely open for that. I'm not untouchable. I like the idea of you guys being interactive. So let me know what's going on, and we'll go from there. Until tomorrow, Mr. Miracle coming up. Check you later.